that conversation. But again, the likeness get used, so now it's used to silence a conversation.
Shut up, bitch! You tell Miss.
I'm gonna move on to, and this is the last piece I'm gonna move on to, is ideology, right? And this is really just gonna be a larger conversation around elected official space. Because a lot of people are gun-ho crazy about black electeds who don't think like the average black person. And again, like I said, the whole "we are not a monolith" is not the flex you think it is. Every other community, even though they might have disagreements within it, move like a monolith. So, Wes Moore comes out, the nation's lone black governor vetoes bill to study reparations. Maryland Governor Wes Moore on Friday vetoed a bill that would have required the state to define economic harms to black descendants of enslaved people and recommend remedies, dealing a blow to reparations supporters who counted on the only black governor of a U.S. state to be an ally. The veto of a reparations study was the highest profile 24 vetoes Moore issued late Friday, the most the governor and rising Democratic star has fought back against the Democratic-controlled legislature during his 2.5 years in office. Moore said, given the state's economic problems, he was focused on laws that helped the state recover from severe impacts of the Trump administration's federal spending cuts. Okay. I was very transparent with leadership and members of the General Assembly that anything that fails to meet the urgency of this moment, I will not sign it and must wait for another time, Moore said in an interview, calling the reparations study the most challenging of his veto decisions. All right, hold on, let me read that shit again, because what the fuck, what are you talking about? I was very transparent with the leadership and members of the General Assembly that anything that fails to meet the urgency of this moment, I will not sign it, and it must wait for another time. So hold on. Am I understanding this correctly? Reparations for descendants of slaves don't meet the appropriate time and moment. But Moore said, given the state's economic problems, he was focused on laws that helped the state recover from the severe impacts of the Trump administration's federal spending cuts. Moore said he's ready to engage in conversation about repairing the legacy of slavery now, and he doesn't need to wait 2 years for the Reparations Commission to draft a study. A study group that is saying that they're going to present reports to the governor in 2 years is fine. But the governor is ready to engage now, he said. Moore met with black leaders as recently as Thursday to say he was wrestling with it. Even before his veto of the bill, Moore's unwillingness to embrace a reparations study fostered a mix of betrayal and resignation from some leading black supporters who saw the state's first black governor, a candidate who campaigned on tackling the racial wealth gap, as a natural champion in the century-long fight to redress slavery's generational harms. Despite his comments that he is not running for higher office, Moore is widely seen as a potential presidential contender, a pursuit that could be complicated by a record of supporting the policy for reparations, and that's the key, which according to the polling is politically divisive. Yeah. Everyone is upset about this. Senator C. Anthony Muse, who led a rally outside Moore's official residence in Annapolis last week, urging the governor to sign a reparations bill, said about Moore's lack of support. There will be a real backlash from the black community, not just in Maryland, nationwide, Muse said before the votes were issued, adding that the leaders of General Assembly, Black Legislative Caucus, of which he is a member, are broadly baffled by Moore's reluctance. I've had 2 conversations with about it, Muse said. We all walk away from it the same way. What in the world? Immediately after the veto, the Black Caucus issued a statement noting that the study had a veto-proof majority. The legislator will have the final say. The state's first black governor chose to block this historic legislation that would have moved the state toward directly repairing the harm of enslavement. The caucus said in a statement, while unilateral executive actions and piecemeal legislation addressing disparities can contribute to progress, they cannot substitute meaningful, sustained, and comprehensive efforts. To advocates, Maryland tackling reparations represented both a concrete and symbolic victory. The state is bounded by the Mason-Dixon line and is the historical home of black luminaries for equality, including Frederick Douglass, Thurgood Marshall, as well as figures who worked to protect slavery. Roger B. Taney, a Supreme Court Chief Justice who wrote in the infamous Dred Scott versus Sanford Supreme Court opinion in 1857, ruling black people were not citizens, was a Maryland resident, prominently honored at the State House until 2017. Well, y'all can go ahead and check this out. It's behind the paywall, unfortunately. But I think they give out a few free reads. So I would tell everybody to go ahead and check that out. But the point that I wanted to bring up, the article kind of touched on it, is that ideologically, reparations is politically divisive. And you have a lot of black people who fall into two categories. And when I say black people, I'm talking about descendants of slaves as well. No, talking about those who are descendants of slaves. But you have people who fall into the larger category of blackness who don't necessarily represent us, but because how blackness has been bastardized in America, it has not appropriately evolved and been disaggregated to capture appropriately what it is black is. You have people who take advantage ideologically of that. And what do I mean? You had the other day, Piers Morgan, as well as Mark Lamont Hill and Myron Gaines, they were all on this panel talking about a white woman who called the young boy the N-word, right? And so Myron Gaines, to combat what Mark Lamont Hill was saying about basically American descendants of slaves, that he was African American too, being technical. And what Mark Lamont Hill said to him in that was, you're being disingenuous in the same way, because you're saying it in the same way that Elon Musk is an African American, which he is, which is why appreciate Yvette Carnell. Everybody should check out her content in terms of why we should disaggregate the same way the Asian Pacific Islander community in DC asked to be disaggregated in terms of how they looked at. Like, no, we should be Japanese, we should be Korean, we should be not just under this one blanket Asian category, because it allows you to deliver specific policy. But I wanted to talk about the Wes Moore situation because it's not accidental. He is qualifying himself ideologically to be able to matriculate in institutions that, again, do not serve us, but weaponize our phenotype. So phenotypically, he looks like us. So a person would be like, oh, he, for us. Same thing with Kamala Harris and Barack Obama. But ideologically, they are not you. And there are even people who are descendants of slaves who fall into this category of being ideologically unaligned with the group. When I started working in government and politics, I thought representation too mattered. But what I quickly learned is that, yes, everybody there's this diverse pool phenotypically. You have women, you have Latino women, you have Indian women, you have Black, you have African, Senegalese, Ghanaian, etc. But what they scan you for, what they are basically accounting for is whether you're indifferent, not racist, but indifferent to the social current construct. What do I mean by that? A lot of modern day institutions are not going to be openly racist in the ways that we've become accustomed to believing that racism happens. For example, Donald Trump is not racist in the sense that he hates black people. Donald Trump is racist in that he is indifferent to the paradigm of vetoes, descendants of slaves, being at the bottom. That's your measuring stick. So you have Wes Moore who's saying, look, I understand that these things are problematic, but I am willing to forego them to qualify to matriculate in this current infrastructure. And also, hold that, also use my blackness, my phenotype, what I look like, to galvanize, to herd people into an institution that does not care about them, that is only here to extract your life force, your money, your time, your effort, your energy, with nothing in return other than making him and creating a space for him to have speaking engagements that may pay him hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars. Like once you go into these spaces, once you become critically acclaimed, people pay you to talk, even sometimes when you don't know what you're talking about. And that's why I'm doing this. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I'm doing it because I need to be I want to have ideological battles, but I understand it again. My people don't respect intellect in the same way. I know I need followers because that's the only thing people respect. Or money. And that's just the fact of it. So if you're watching and you understand what I'm saying to you, all I'm saying is you want somebody who can ideologically represent you and point out the bullshit, because they're really good at using a lot of words, a lot of terminology. Like, again, going back to the article, he says that if it's not urgent about what the Trump spending cuts affect, he's not really hell-bent on doing it. So everybody has an issue with Donald Trump, but nobody wants to talk about how Donald Trump was able to ride the wave of what America is into the White House. Donald Trump is built on legacy. The legacy of everything that Wes Moore is saying that he vetoed. Donald Trump's dad and family was able to gift him the money that he had because of the institution and legacy of slavery. But you're vetoing something because you want to individually qualify and use your blackness. Because we have a black bourgeoisie community who will say, oh, well, he playing chess, not checkers. Well, if cowardice is a strategy, let's just say that. Let's just keep it 100. Let's say most of these people are cowards. I know people 60, 50, 70 plus. Your strategy is to be a coward because you'll have a conversation with me in private, but you won't have a conversation with me in public because you want your brand deals. You want your money. So you'll go and self-censor, but then you want to cry about Donald Trump. You want to cry about white racists. You want to cry about all of the problems and all of the issues that we face as a community, but you won't say nothing out loud because you want to individually qualify to monetize your blackness. You want to be able to stand up on a pedestal and say, I'm the head Negro. Y'all come follow me, but you don't want to say what got to be said because you know the smoke that come with it and you don't really want the smoke. You don't want the smoke. And just say that. Just say that your strategy is being a coward. And I want us as black people to start calling that shit what it is. Oh, it's chestnut checkers. Let me say it like this. For everybody who wants to say it's chestnut checkers, because I'm a young boy. I'm willing to listen and I'm willing to learn, but I could teach our old dog something too. Because here's what y'all not taking into account. A lot of y'all pushing 70, 80, 90. We've been having these same conversations since I've been alive. Everybody want to talk about, well, the opportunity might come. No. Understand that what we're living through right now is the nuts and bolts being tied up. What we're living through right now and what we're going through right now is the oligarchs and the billionaires saying, no, we're going to put the nuts and the bolts on this so there is no more newness. We're not living in a situation where, again, we're at the beginning of this. No, we're coming towards the end. The game is almost over. Like, y'all don't get it. You got all these entertainers crying out here, no money. They still getting raped on rap deals, 360s. How many people got to come out and tell us about this before we get it? I'm not really understanding. But we want to use cowardice as a strategy. Because it's convenient. You got people who are sitting in the meeting with you. Everybody knows it's bullshit that's being talked. Everybody knows it's bullshit that's being said. Everybody knows it's bullshit that's being voted on. But you know what? The person who speak, they want to clap them up after the meeting. Nah, for what? Y'all didn't stand with them when it mattered. Because you wanted to protect your brand deals. You wanted to protect your promotions. You wanted to protect your access. And again, this is part of the conversation because you have to go through a cultural castration to get the access. And that's the problem. Your representation comes without the resources, it's like somebody stealing your car, taking your car, giving it back to you without the engine. I can't drive it. Like I said earlier, we used to play video games. Motherfucker think they playing the game, whole time controller unplugged. But I plugged it in. You got representation. You thought you was doing something. But don't nobody want to be honest about it. Don't nobody want to have a conversation about it. And again, if you want to chase and get your bag, I'm not against that. But I'm tired of hearing on the other end that people want to cry about racism. You playing into the bullshit. You know what come with it. Some of us, the younger people, some of y'all are ignorant. But for a lot of the older people, they know the game that they playing. They know it. And it's just sad to continue watching, man. It really is. It really is. Because it's like, okay, you're going to get a bag out of it, right? And some people who think they build a legacy out of it, right? 10, 20, 30 years from now, what are we going to have as a society? Because everybody want to talk about what's happening right now. Like, understand that there was a lead up to this moment. I just want everybody to think about that. Like, this just did not happen in this 1 4 8 year time span. Understand that America has been this. And be honest, understand that Donald Trump is more of a representation of America than what we think is not. He's egotistical, he's arrogant, he's anti-intellectual, selfish, all about the bag. And people don't like him because he also, see, it's cool to be indifferent to black poverty and black pain, but people don't like Donald Trump because he's indifferent to everybody's pain. He don't give a fuck about nobody. Not the whites, not the Asians, not the nobody. He care about him and him only. And people got an issue with that. Because he was supposed to go in. People voted for him because he was supposed to go in and fuck the niggas over. And nobody want to have a conversation about that. Everybody was with it because it was supposed to be back to normals. Get the Negroes up out of here. But guess what? Y'all selfishness, yeah. That's why I'm not mad. Look, baby, y'all better buckle up because right now, this is not going to be over just because Donald Trump has left or when he leaves. It's bigger than him. It's about our culture. We got fucking Uber and Klarna partnering up to exploit people. You got gambling services using black faces to basically create yet another vice in the black community, on top of all of the other vices that we already got. And that's black excellence. Come on, man. It don't make sense. But representation, so we can say we represent it. And I'm tired of hearing people say, well, white people do it too. Hold on. Let me get this right. So, y'all talk shit about white people like a dog. But you telling me they also your measuring stick? What the hell kind of logic is that, man? That makes absolutely no sense. And again, for me personally, I'm not going to sit up here and say that it's every white person. I know that it's not every white person. But what I will say is your indifference as a white person is coming back to haunt you and fuck you over. Because it's not about hatred anymore. All of this stuff has evolved. It's about gross levels of indifference. So for everybody who, oh yeah, I'm going to chase the bag. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do. Yeah, you're also becoming a part of the problem because you're not intentional. You're leaving behind havoc in how you do it. Because you chasing, again, people who've exploited every part of the supply chain, including the human capital, which is us, and our likeness, and you're trying to do the same thing. And now, to even be and get access, hold on. I saw some other shit on TV, right? Just this last week. This gentleman named David Hogg, right? White dude, white boy. Got on TV on the panel, and I'm fucking with it. Cause somebody should have been said it. Told Jim Clyburn basically, get over yourself, chump. And Donna Brazile, who's a black woman who professes that she cares about progressive ideology, tells him essentially, well, when I was out here in the streets and this and that, and I got my seat at the table, and you gotta learn when you get your seat at the table, you can't say shit. She said the quiet part out loud. Yeah, when you get up there, shut your fucking mouth, or we gonna kick you the fuck off. Straight like that. And everybody wanna act real fake, like, nah, look, I ain't gonna lie to you. Some people deserve to get talked to greasy like that. Because if you're gonna be a whore, just be a whore. And when I say a whore, not sexually, but if you're gonna sell yourself out and your likeness out like that, you deserve what come with it. But again, don't nobody wanna be honest about that. You don't wanna, as a black person, you conflicted because you like, oh, well, he a white boy. Nah. Donna Brazile cheated for Hillary Clinton. We remember that? So what are we talking about? And Jim Clyburn is like up there in age. Should have been had that conversation. But again, your likeness get used, so now it's used to silence a conversation. But you represent it. You're not represented. Not ideologically anyway. You got maybe a person who got some brown just like you, but ideologically you're not represented, and that's why the leftists always lose. Because they're not ideologically represented, and they don't understand. A lot of them, I ain't gonna say all of them, because I see some coming out of the woodwork who starting to understand. They're not represented, but a lot of them are there to play the game. Just controlled opposition. Because that's what a lot of black people are. Controlled opposition. Okay, you can cry about it all day, every day, but you ain't gonna do nothing. Because you know that you selling your blackness to them to get them to buy into something that you know ain't possible. They got motherfuckers out here believing they gonna work 5, 10 jobs to become a millionaire. Slim, shawty, that's not how that's set up. I'm gonna work on getting some actual business owners on here to tell y'all, to talk about, how the pitfalls of entrepreneurship and what it really looks like in 2025 and how that actually functions. Because I'm not that guy, and I try to stay in my lane. But what I will say, man, is we gotta stop being taught alike and just wanting to be represented. People take advantage of that. People take advantage of the fact that we have been underrepresented for so long that we will take anything. When you are truly represented in something, you should not have to culturally castrate yourself to get access to the room. Because if you have to do that, that is not representation. You need the engine to the car so you can drive it, not just the car. The guts, the outside, the panels. You need the whole thing. Come on, people, it's 2025, man. Solution, stop falling for old tricks. Become more astute so that you can realize, like, I'm being played, man. Like, it's not even cool at this point that we still think that just because we in a movie or we elected a black this or a black that's going to change our quality of life. Motherfucker, it's 2025 and we still going in a downward trajectory. Come on, man. Sad, man. Sad to watch people think that that's success. It's not. I really wish it was. I'm not going to lie to you. I really wish it was. Because that's way easier. But it's not. They playing right in our face. And I want y'all, and my message to black women is, look, tell them get that fucking statue out of Times Square. That ain't y'all fight. Why you want to put us in the middle of two white men and represent the strong? No, you are not a superhero. You are a human being. Stop letting them do that to y'all. I know it feel good. People in your own personal life, yeah, hype you up. But no, do not let them culturally put that message out, because that has ramifications. It has consequences. We gotta protect our narrative. But if you are with me still, thank you. I appreciate you. Like the video. Share it, please, man. Leave a comment. If you don't agree with me, feel free. I'm always open. But I've been around this shit a long time. Almost my whole life. And I know this very well. But I'm willing. But y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Sunday. I thank you and I love you.